Hey, Archie, why is it that we often hear as people get close to age 65, they say, hey, it's time to retire?
Well, Rob, there's a lot more to it than that, and it's not really about age. Weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. This is Last Paycheck. Well, welcome back to the Last Paycheck podcast, brought to you by Hoxton Planning and Management. We're your hosts, CFP professionals Archie Hoxton and Rob Hoxton, and today we're going to be talking about retirement and kind of a reframing of how many people think of retirement. I think most people think it's about the age that they retire and figuring out what age. But I think it's a better frame is looking at it from a cash flow perspective, because that's really what it's about. Age is somewhat arbitrary in the calculation of whether you can retire or not. There are some important things attached to age, but cash flow is the most important part of it. How do you pay yourself income when you stop working?
You mean it's not just a state of mind?
I wish, and maybe that's part of it too, but
It's interesting. Every time I go on vacation, I kind of try to slide into that retirement state of mind.
yeah.
I'm definitely not ready to retire.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there's a good state of mind to have in retirement, and we can talk about that another time maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, another way that people tend to think about retirement is, so there's the age, there's also how much to have in my portfolio. But both of those are really relative and somewhat arbitrary. Like it depends more on what you need from a cash flow perspective.
Right. It's not, in our culture, we love to keep score, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do I have enough? Like at different times in my career, I've heard things sort of floated out there about how much is enough to retire on. Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 3 million? It really depends, of course, but it's more than just trying to keep score for sure.
Yeah. I mean, because you could have $5 million for retirement and it's not enough. Or you could have $500,000 and it's plenty. So there's very, very different
Depends
approaches.
on you, in other words. Yeah.
You could be 65 and you can't retire. You could be 55 and you could have retired 2 years ago, you know? So there's a lot there. You know, I like to think of the reasons why, kind of why 65? Why is that sort of the generic retirement age?
It's not even when you can retire based on Social Security benefits anymore.
Right.
Right?
And the only thing it's attached to is Medicare.
Medicare. That's true. Yep.
I like to think of that. That's going to smack in the middle where you are eligible for Social Security, but you don't have your full retirement benefit yet, and you have Medicare. So I guess that's kind of just people just sort of thrown that age out there, but it's really not about. It may be that 62 is a better age, or 67 or 70 is a better age. Because like we said, the bigger picture, the more important part of this is everything else that's going on. And so, one of the really important factors here is taking stock of your other income sources. So when you're retiring, you're giving up probably your most important asset, which is your ability to earn income. And you're replacing that with something else. So I think one of the really important pieces of planning from a cash flow perspective, not from an age perspective or from a portfolio size perspective, is actually, okay, how much income am I going to have coming in from various sources, like my pension, like my Social Security, like if you have annuities,
a part-time gig,
part-time.
Maybe you can generate some income doing something that you've not been able to do, but that you really love.
Right.
Yeah.
Real estate may be another option for people who get involved in that. So that's the first part, is how much income do you have and when do you have it? The second piece of that is okay, well, what do you need in addition? If that's not enough, what do you need in addition to that?
Yeah. How do you plug that gap?
Yeah. And that for most people comes from their portfolio. So I think that's really probably the most important part of retirement planning is shifting from the mindset from I've got income coming in because I'm working to I've got some income over here that I know I can count on. And then the rest is going to come from this pot of money that's going to fluctuate in value.
It's it's hugely complicated too. It's when people think about their working years, the primary objective is just grow your assets, save enough, invest it prudently so that you can have this nest egg that closes that income gap between your guaranteed payments like Social Security, or if you're lucky enough to have a pension, and what you actually need to live on. So it shifts from this process of just throwing enough money into the retirement account and other investments so that you have this nest egg that supports you later in life to, okay, now we've accumulated some money. How do we convert that into an income to support us and do it in such a way that it's optimized, that it's the best way that we can do it so that we take full advantage of all of those years of accumulation.
Yeah. And the varying tax benefits of each type of account. So, you may want to retire. Your age that you've attached yourself to might be 55, let's say, which is extremely aggressive. But let's say you've just saved all your money all these years on autopilot in a 401k and IRAs. So you've got this big pre-tax bucket of money. Well, now age is irrelevant. The cash flow problem has become much more complex. How do you generate income from a 401k when you're still in the penalty zone where you're going to have penalties for taking money out?
Yeah, if you retire at 55, definitely.
Yeah. So again, age is sort of subjected to the cash flow problem. It's subordinate to that, and that's the so if 55 is the goal, and you have enough time, well, then it's the cash flow problem has to determine your strategy. So maybe it's saving money to a taxable account. Maybe it's determining, a strategy for 72T distributions, which are, a legal penalty-free option for taking money out of a 401k or IRA before 59 and a half.
There's so many other financial considerations as well. I mean, you're going to lose your income, right? So you've got to plug that gap because you don't have Social Security if you retire early.
Right.
Right? Not yet. So you either have to have part-time work or all of that has to come from the portfolio. And when you take into consideration that for a married couple, if you've accumulated some assets, you're going to have a pretty high health insurance premium. It can be as high as $25,000 to $30,000 a year.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, we just got our health insurance renewal for the business, and it was an 18% increase. 18% increase, and that was on top of a 12% last year.
Yeah.
So there are so many things, not only income planning but expense planning, that you have to be aware of before you tell your employer, "Hey, I'm not coming back from this vacation. I'm just going to stay on vacation."
Right. That's part of why early retirement is so difficult, and the cash flow problem is more complex. Yeah, because there's this long gap before Social Security and Medicare. So right. Age, the reason why when age becomes important is reaching age 65 or 67 enables retirement a little earlier because you sort of kick in these sort of social safety nets that we've all been paying into. But again, it does not necessarily mean that you're automatically set for retirement. Like there's still that cash flow question. Another piece of this, I think, less directly with it's not necessarily a cash flow problem, but it's related to it. When you have income coming in from a guaranteed source and then you've got withdrawals coming out from a portfolio, I often hear things like, well, I'm X age. I don't have time to take risk in my portfolio. And age is thrown out as sort of the excuse for, well, I can't do it. I don't have enough time. I actually often will I think that's the opposite way to look at it. Not having enough time is not your problem. Having too much time is actually
that's
the
a good
problem.
way to put it. Yeah, I mean, if you're 65 years old, the chances that you're going to live at least another 20 years, I mean, odds are you're going to.
They're pretty
And
good.
if you're a married couple, it's the odds that one of you will live, into your late 80s or higher are very strong.
Yeah.
So
it's not that you don't have time to take risk or that you can't afford to take risk. It's that you have too much time and you can't afford not to take risk, because that time is going to eat away at this source of cash flow.
Those assets have to continue to grow. You have to outpace inflation plus something, right? So that you can give yourself a pay raise every year.
Yeah. So I think that there are a lot of ways that we kind of anchor to age when planning for retirement, whether it's with investment risk, whether it's, I want to retire early, or, just sort of by default saying I'm just going to go to 65, when it's just the wrong frame. We need to look at it as a cash flow problem and figure out, well, at what point do you have enough of a portfolio to sustain and supplement your other income sources in a way that's sustainable over the rest of your life, given, a certain portfolio allocation.
If you're close to retirement, or maybe you recently retired, none of what we're talking about is a surprise.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're thinking about this and you're wondering, you're probably feeling some stress over it.
Right.
Right. And so, planning, we find that planning, what people tell us, our clients tell us, is that the process of going through planning really helps to sort of set some of those fears to rest. I mean, we're always gonna worry about things. You watch the news and something weird happens and the market goes down, that causes a spike of anxiety. We see that in our communications with clients, and it's especially true in the first couple of years leading up to retirement, and the first couple of years after you retire.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but the planning, one of the reasons why planning is so valuable is because it reduces the fear and anxiety around events like that. Because that's probably the most important question is, how much money should I withdraw from my portfolio every year to supplement my other income sources? That question, answering that right, can mean having the income that you need for the rest of your life with minimal stress. Not answering that question at all, or answering it wrong, can mean having a very stressful time at it and potentially running out of money.
Yeah.
Again, it's a cash flow problem. And, when you have a financial plan where you're saying, okay, well, you need this much in order to fund your retirement, regardless of age. If it's 55, then, okay, you need this much. If it's 65, you need this much. If it's 70, you need this much. Either way, you need to know if that's sustainable in the long run. And what the planning process does, if it's done right, is looks at all of a wide range of possibilities of what can go wrong or what can go right, and gives you a high level of confidence that what you're doing is okay. Your cash flow problem has been solved, and you can retire at this given age that you've decided.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And if the numbers aren't working out, and sometimes we retire because we don't really have a choice, right? Our job goes away maybe, or we have health problems and it makes it, or some sort of family issue. We've got to care for someone else in the family, and our ability to continue to work goes away. Well, It's certainly helpful if you're planning to have some plan B options that are not necessarily purely financial, but have a financial impact that you can look to for some remedy.
Yeah.
Like maybe it means not living in an area where real estate prices are super elevated and real estate property taxes are high and state and local taxes are high. Maybe it means moving to a more favorable state. We see that a lot in our planning practice. So there are things that you can sort of think through. It's easy to do if you have a financial coach to find maybe some ideas to help you retire and feel confident about it that aren't, only save more or work longer.
Yeah. And the best place to start with that is take an inventory. How much income are you going to have coming in that you're not going to be, working for? Social Security, pension, that sort of thing. How much are you going to spend? You can start with how much do I spend per month now, and then account for random expenses through the year. And what's the deficit? How much do I need to come out of the portfolio? That'll give you a really good starting point to know if you have a major cash flow problem or not.
We've got some great tools, free tools you can use on the website if you want to check those out to help you understand your retirement readiness and some of the things that you need to be asking yourself or your advisor as you really begin to get serious about retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Check those out. I think that's probably all the time we have today. So if you have questions about this or some thoughts you want to share or you want to hear us talk about something in an episode, leave us a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your family and friends, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. You've been watching Last Paycheck, weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. If you like this show, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Last Paycheck is available anywhere you get your podcasts.